Hello, welcome to the Self Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Chapter 2 Social Change and Social Order in Rural and Urban Society. And our topic is Social Order and Social Change in Rural Society. Because of the objective conditions in villages being different, we can expect the nature of social order and social change to be different as well. Villages are small in size, so they usually permit more personalized relationships. It is not unusual for members of a village to know all or most other members by sight. Moreover, the social structure in villages tends to follow a more traditional pattern. Institutions like caste, religion, and other forms of customary or traditional social practice are stronger here. For these reasons, unless there are special circumstances that make for an exception, change is slower to arrive in villages than in towns. There are also other reasons for this. A variety of factors ensure that the subordinate sections of society have much less scope for expressing themselves in rural areas than their counterparts in cities. The lack of autonomy and distance in that village makes it difficult for people to dissent because they can be easily identified and taught a lesson by the dominant sections. Moreover, the relative power of the dominant sections is much more because they control most avenues of employment and most resources of all kinds. So the poor have to depend on the dominant sections since there are no alternative sources of employment or support. Given the small population, it is also very difficult to gather large numbers, particularly since efforts towards this cannot be hidden from the powerful and are very quickly suppressed. So, in short, if there is a strong power structure already in place in a village, it is very difficult to dislodge it. Change in the sense of shifts in power are thus slow and late to arrive in rural areas because the social order is stronger and more resilient. Change of other sorts is also slow to come because villages are scattered and not as well connected to the rest of the world as cities and towns are. Of course, new modes of communications, particularly the telephone and the television, have changed this. So the cultural lag between the villages and the towns is now much shorter or non existent. Communication links of other sort, rail, road, have also generally improved over time so that few villages can really claim to be isolated or remote, words often unthinkably attached to villages in the past. This has also accelerated the pace of change somewhat. For obvious reasons, change in the associated with agriculture or with agrarian social relations have a very major impact on rural societies. Thus, measures like land reform, which alter the structure of land ownership, have an immediate impact. In India, the first phase of land reforms after the independence took away proprietary rights from absentee landlords and gave them to the groups that were actually managing the land and its cultivation in the village. Most of these groups belonged to intermediate castes and though they were often not themselves the cultivators, they acquired rights over land. In combination with their number, this factor increased their social status and political power because their votes mattered for winning elections. Aman Srinivas has named these groups as the dominant caste. In many regional contexts, the dominant caste became very powerful in economic terms and dominated the countryside and hence also electoral politics. In more recent times, these dominant castes are themselves facing opposition from the assertive uprising of castes further below them, the lowest and the most backward caste. This has led to major social upheavals in many states like Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu. In the same way, changes in the technological organization of agriculture also has a large and immediate impact on rural society. The introduction of new labor saving machinery or new cropping patterns may alter the demand for labor and thus change the relative bargaining strength of different social groups like landlords and laborers. Even if they do not directly affect labor demand, technological or economic changes can change the economic power of different groups and thus set in motion a chain of changes. Sudden fluctuations in agricultural prices, droughts, or floods can cause havoc in rural society. The recent spate of farmer suicides in India is an example of this. On the other hand, large sections of development programs aimed at the rural poor can also have an enormous impact. A good example of this is the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act of 2005. Now let us wind up the session and thank you very much for engaging yourself with the Self Learning podcast.